Hi everyone, I'm Anna Close.
And I'm Paul Ciparoni, and this is the Engineering History Podcast.
If you want to hear about where engineering and history collide, then you're at the right show.
Today, we'll be going over insert description of topic here. But first, let's give you guys some background about us. I'm a manufacturing engineer at a large aerospace company.
And I'm a civil engineer focusing in water resources and water quality.
Was that the whole thing? Or?
No.
Okay. Oh, no, yes. Sorry.
Our alcohol for today's podcast is the Golden State Cider. It's a mighty dry.
It is mighty dry, and it's 1 pint each.
Yay. Cheers. Paul.
All right, and let's get that. Ooh, some ASMR there to kind of brighten some days.
Crisp opening. So, our topic for today is the LA Aqueduct.
Oh my god, I knew it was going to be Aqueduct based.
Yay!
I knew it.
Because I'm a water engineer.
I love Aqueduct so much. I have just a boner for Aqueduct.
Yep. And we just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of our supporters, friends, and family who listened to our last one and gave positive reviews. We really appreciate it.
People were so nice. I expected 2 people to give pity likes on the thing where I shared it, and we had a bunch of people go in and say wow, this is great, and all these thank you so much to anybody who said anything. It was really nice.
And justice for Albert 6.
Yes. We got a comment on Apple Podcasts which really wanted justice for Albert 6.
I think everyone wants justice for Albert 6.
I agree. But what I really want justice for is the LA Aqueduct.
Oh, boy, do you.
Do I? I don't actually know anything about it.
Well, good thing I'm talking about it right now.
That is useful.
Okay, so just to give a quick background about the area and LA at the time. So this kind of takes place at the very beginning of the 20th century. So like 1900 onward. That
is the beginning of the 20th century, yeah.
Okay, don't be a dick. So LA at the time in around 1900-ish, plus maybe 4 years. So Mexican rule had just ended during the Mexican-American War, and essentially Americans took control of the Californios after a series of battles, culminating with the signing of the Treaty of Cahuenga.
Wow. I'm sure that's the original pronunciation. Is this better or worse pronunciation than Montgolfier?
It's about the same.
Now, I noticed you said Californios.
Yes, so Californios is kind of, it's a restaurant.
So, you fought a war over a fucking restaurant?
No, it's just, I just clicked on it, and it just says, for restaurants, see, Californios Restaurant.
I think that's better than California, we lost out from California.
California, surprise guys, is just one big restaurant.
Yeah, well, it's a restaurant that serves delicious, being the 6th largest economy in the world.
Yes. Anyways, okay, so Californios is a plural of Californio, which is a term used to designate a Hispanic Californian. Especially those descended from Spanish and Mexican settlers. So essentially, the Americans took control of California from the original settlers, which were of either Spanish or Mexican descent.
That's kind of, I don't know if this is what's going on here, but it almost makes me wonder, with some Native American tribes, you would have the people, and then the land they occupied had, the same name because they were nomadic,
Yeah.
So, I wonder if there's kind of a similar dynamic going on here.
Yeah, it seems like it. And so this Treaty of Cahuenga
Nice.
Is essentially, it's also called the Capitulation of Cahuenga.
And I assume that's the losing side's name for it.
Yes. It was an agreement in 1847 that ended the conquest of California, resulting in a ceasefire between the Californios and Americans, again, leading to California kind of becoming part of the U.S., becoming like a state, kind of.
So, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they one of the few states where didn't they just became a state? Like, they didn't have some long ass application.
I don't know the background of California as a whole.
Okay.
But I looking at this date, seeing as in 1847 it was agreement that the conquest of California was kind of over and it would be part of the Americas, and then in 1849 there was like that whole gold rush. I would assume that it quickly became a state after that was agreement.
It. Yes. Yeah. But wait, but then why is it in early 1900s that they're becoming a state?
No. This is kind of like a background of California, and
okay.
Now I'm gonna kind of getting into.
I'm getting it now.
Like LA at the time.
Sorry.
Probably should have done it.
No. This cider's only 6.3%, folks, but it's already clearly already starting to have an effect.
You're gonna hear a lot of really bad 1920s impressions from me.
Is it like, welcome to the gold rush, boys?
Yeah, there was actually, my next point was, railroads arrived with the completion of the transcontinental Southern Pacific Line from New Orleans to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California, ladies and gentlemen.
In 1876. Yeah, so essentially the boom of LA as a city began with, railroads becoming more popular and being built and having easier access to go to city, but also petroleum was discovered in this city and surrounding area in the 1890s. So there was a lot of oil people, like rich people, a lot of people coming and going for the oil and petroleum, but also the railroads.
The railroads, boy.
So, and also, let me just get into LA weather for a little bit too.
Sure.
It was a semi-arid climate with unreliable rainfall. That's it.
We give you the folks here, folks. We give you the facts here, folks.
We only do factual facts.
That kind of is relevant because everybody says LA's weather is super great, and I can imagine, in Alaska, they'll go there because there's oil there, and I guess you'll go there to drill oil, but nobody really wants to live in Alaska.
Nobody, right? No, I don't think so.
I saw this meme one time that was like, bruh, what if you were born in Alaska, you MF life gone, or like it was like you MF life over before it began.
Yeah, those memes of like a baby being born, it's just like, oh God, please don't let it be Ohio. Yeah. I was thinking about that too.
No, yeah, Ohio's like the one worst, I think.
Yeah, sorry to those listening who have ever been to or lived in Ohio.
I've been to Ohio and I still feel contaminated.
I know, I have to take a shower 3 times a day just to get Ohio off of me.
One thing, Bob Evans. You ever been to Bob Evans?
Mm-mm.
It's from Ohio. It's kind of a family style restaurant.
Oh yeah.
It's very Ohio, but it's also I think worth existing. Also Skyline Chili.
Yeah. But we're not talking about Ohio.
We're not
talking about Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, so great weather, lots of oil, the railroad.
The railroad.
Only problem is, for a booming city to thrive, you need water.
You do.
And that was kind of the limiting growth factor of Los Angeles, was poor water supply.
Well, luckily they figured all that out and that's been fixed. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's where William Mulholland comes in. He was the head of city planning, and he was also a self-taught civil engineer.
Self-taught?
Yeah, he just read a shit ton of books, and he's like, this is good enough.
I'm
qualified.
I love that. Is so like early or like late 1800s America,
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, I literally just read a book, Time to Build the LA Aqueduct.
Yeah. So a little bit of background on William Mulholland. He was, I think he was born in Ireland, but then he immigrated to America.
Love it.
Like I said, he was a self-taught civil engineer and was basically the main guy who was responsible for building this kind of water supply infrastructure to Los Angeles. He... Yeah, that's all I have. So the project started in early 1900s. I think it was like 1904 is when kind of the design and construction started. But essentially, William and this other guy, Fred Eaton, who was, I believe, the mayor at the time of Los Angeles, they got together and they were like, what are we going to do? We need water to have a great city.
Great. And
essentially, they found this place called Owens Valley, about 233 miles away from LA. Mm-hmm. And they got there, and it was just great water source, great place to kind of take water and direct it to Los Angeles. Nice. And it was pretty much like all downhill because at the time it was really high up. Owens Valley was approximately 4,000 feet above sea level, and so the entire water line was gravity fed. They didn't need to use any kind of, well, I don't think they even really had any kind of mechanism like pumps or anything to pump water. So that was kind of like a big reason why they chose Owens Valley, was because it had a lot of water and it would be all gravity fed.
Now, is that still, well, I mean, maybe we're getting into spoiler territory here, but like, does LA still retrieve a lot of water from Owens Valley, or?
No, there's like so many, I think they do like, I don't know what LA does because it doesn't really get a lot of rainfall, but I think they do like dams and water reuse. Like I think specifically in like Southern California, they do like they take wastewater and they reuse it for maybe not like drinking supply, but like agricultural purposes.
Not to tangent us, but aren't you anti-dam? Like, you don't believe in dams?
Well, just the dams that aren't necessary. Right.
You think we over-dam?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of over-damming in some places, and it's just it just ends up costing the taxpayer more money, and it's not really all that great, and it's actually environmentally unhelpful.
Would you say you're pro Aqueduct after reading this, or in general?
I'm pro I don't know. Well, the thing with this is, and I'll get into it. It really, there was a lot of corruption behind it.
That's the word I thought you were gonna say. Why is it? Well, okay, so maybe you can explain this to me, especially after why do these big infrastructure projects? You mentioned the Transatlantic Railroad. Mm-hmm. You know, plenty of bridges also suffer from this. Mm-hmm. Why do giant infrastructure projects tend to have so much corruption?
I don't know. Well, I can't speak to like every single project out there, but in this scenario, it was like a lot of rich landowners that wanted the water supply not to, for drinking water, but to kind of put water on their land so they could start growing things and selling the land, like doing like golf courses and bullshit like that.
It's just such a giant thing that it's like you say, people are like, this is a giant thing, nobody will notice if I take my slice from my golf course or whatever.
Exactly. And here we are in 1905.
Right.
The design's kind of already been doing the thing, and Mulholland is secretly buying up land, like basically taking land from these ranchers and farmers up near Owens Valley, saying that it's going to be for an agricultural irrigation purpose, that it's actually going to help them, when in actuality it's going to hurt them, because he's not only going to be draining Owens Valley of its natural resources, but also, these, or not natural resources, Owens Valley of its water, that helps with the farming and stuff like that. He's also taking land from these farmers and ranchers.
That's a double whammy.
Yeah, so essentially he was just like lying about the land use, and these farmers, they're basically being left out to dry. And Fred Eaton and William Mulholland also convinced the LA Times to print propaganda pieces stating that the city needed this water to survive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But by the time like LA Times figured out what they were doing to these ranchers and farmers, it was, like basically screwing them over. It was like too late to let the public know what was going on.
That makes me wonder if, you mentioned that the growth of the city was constrained by the lack of water. How do we know that's really true? Was that propaganda,
Well, no, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
I would say, you know, like LA didn't get a lot of rainfall even back in the 1900s, early 1900s.
Right.
So they really didn't have, and they can't, like, the people can't just, like, go into the ocean and drink the water because it's salt water.
Salt water, yeah.
So I don't think that was propaganda necessarily. I think, like, what Fred and William were doing, like, telling the LA Times that this water supply, like, you know, we're helping out the community and kind of, like, keeping what they're doing to the ranchers and farmers on the down low.
Right.
You know. So
they're trying to cover up, like, you could even maybe almost say their goal is noble. Maybe they really want this aqueduct to happen.
Well, let me get into it. Because they
sensing some resistance.
They do want the aqueduct to happen, but not necessarily for a water drinking supply.
Oh boy.
Not necessarily for, like, the people to use, and I'll get into that in a minute.
Okay, sweet.
So can you just stop talking and let the women speak?
There's just so many tangents that my male-centric brain wants to go on. The first of which is, have you ever seen, I know you watched True Detective on HBO with Matthew McConaughey, great show.
Great show.
If nobody's seen it. Have you seen True Detective Season 2?
I've seen, like, the first episode, and I was like, this is absolute dog shit.
It's just a very different show. I thought it was pretty good, personally, but everybody hated it. People didn't seem to... I thought Vince Vaughn in a dramatic role... Anyway, this is less relevant, but what is more relevant is that I believe that centers around a aqueduct project, or maybe a railroad. It's some LA County... Railroad.
I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know.
Kind of the bottom line, why I'm tangenting us, is just because, like, it almost feels like it's a trope that these large projects just get bogged down and mired in corruption.
Yeah, I mean, you remember when we saw the Batman?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the main character.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman, whatever his name is. Bruce. Like, his father wanted to start, like, a donation thing for the city.
Right, yes,
and then when he died, it was, like, $1 billion just, like, left on the table.
No oversight whatsoever.
And everyone was like, well, I guess it's ours for the taking.
Spoilers for the Batman. Great movie.
It's a great movie. Robert Pattinson, I kind of like him as Batman.
I think he's great.
Yeah. I liked him better as Cedric Diggory, though.
I can't say I agree. I like him better as Batman.
Oof. Well...
I like just how just fucking pissed he is at all times.
he just loves punching people.
Not happy in that movie once.
No. I mean, what the hell happened to you, man? Like,
you know,
your parents died or something?
Did die. I was telling this to Anna, like, when we got out of the theater, the first thing I just wanted to do, I just wanted to just be like, let's find, like, a homeless dude.
No.
And just, like, punch him. And be like, I'm vengeance.
Oh my god, Paul, the second episode we're gonna get canceled.
I don't think that's actually, you know, I think most homeless people just need mental health resources.
But not the ones that I punch.
I think we should be discriminatory, you know, we shouldn't just punch every homeless person.
Or like just whoever's doing crime, let's say. Just
right.
Punch
if you're
them.
Already doing crime, you know, you're kind of, like, at that point, it's kind of open season. Right. We can cut this part out.
We're not going to.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Carry on, sorry.
Jesus Christ. We can't do this anymore.
I understand. I get it.
God damn it. Okay. Where was I? So, yes. The LA city had already voted for these aqueduct to begin construction, which is why it was kind of too late for the LA Times to show the people of the city that, you know, William and Fred Eaton were, like, basically screwing over these
Couldn't
ranchers.
They still have said something? I mean, if they knew.
I think they did say something, but at that point, like, the city had already voted for this aqueduct.
The wheels are
start.
in motion.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they did, but like I said, it was too little, too late. And essentially, construction began in 1907 and ended 6 years later, so around 1913 is when it ended. And approximately 40 people died during the construction.
What?
Channels, tunnels, and gates that directed the water from Owens Valley
nice.
to the heart of LA.
Now, where the fuck was the safety? I would kind of ask.
It's from 1910s. There's no safety.
I'm instantly thinking of that picture when they're building the Empire State Building and they're just sitting on the I-beam, you know? So that kind of vibe.
Yeah, imagine like you're sitting like hundreds of feet in the air, like eating lunch, and then some guy's like, well, he just like slaps you on the back. Good job today, hard working. Sorry, Frank, I'll take care of your wife and child.
Frank is just like a pile of goo in the pavement.
Oh, can you come into work tomorrow? We really need you.
His eyeball is just like.
He's just he's not even bones. It's all just dust and goo.
Now I wonder, and not to bring up kind of a sore topic, but there were a lot of, I know at least with the Transcontinental Railroad, there were a lot of like immigrant workers who were not like valued in terms of like their lives. Is there kind of a similar dynamic going on here, or is it just
I wouldn't be
general
surprised.
Purpose? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, like construction safety back then was not at its peak.
Yeah.
And on top of that, probably, to save some money, cut the corners a little bit, they hired immigrants who, came from wherever that, just wanted a job. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some of that stuff going on. But, 6 years later, 1913-ish, the construction ended and, it was a gravity-fed line, and when the construction finished, William Mulholland famously opened the water line and famously said, "There it is, take it."
Ooh, okay.
Kind of badass.
That's not bad, yeah.
Yeah. But, and here's where I get my gears are really ground.
Uh-oh. I really grind my gears.
Much of the water was not used for residential purposes, but for commercial use. So a lot of the landowners would take this water and, kind of bolster up their own property so they could sell it at a higher value.
Now, is this something where, like, you have lucrative contracts where people are like, I'm essentially buying the land near this, and we have some kind of inside baseball deal where people are not cut in?
Yeah, it's essentially like that. So... yeah, that's pretty much what happened is, Fred Eaton and William Mulholland got like a whole bunch of other rich white landowning guys together, and they're like, this is what we're doing, to kind of give us some money for the construction, but for ourselves as well. We're going to cut you in on the deal. You're going to make money off of the property because it's going to be well taken care of with all of this water, and we're gonna get a little
cheddar cheese
on the side. Yeah, so that's why I'm like kind of annoyed, because it didn't seem like at the end of the day that this project was for the people. It was for rich white landowning men.
Now did the people benefit like was there any benefit to the people, or?
I'm sure there was. I think maybe there was like a small percentage was used for like drinking water and stuff like that, but they mainly, I think LA at the end of all of this took water from like other like dams and stuff like that to kind of supplement a lot of the loss from this.
So this is the fat cats getting richer, using public funds to create something to benefit their cronies and themselves.
And stealing land from ranchers and farmers.
Right.
The government on the railroad. Yeah, so it's just awful.
That's pretty bad. So this is a wealth transfer vehicle, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the following years of this construction, many of the ranchers and farmers that were angry about this end up sabotaging the line.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of sabotage.
So I guess one thing I'm wondering, like, So I know New York has a reservoir, which is where all their water comes from, and they have a police force where like their entire job is just to guard this reservoir.
Yeah.
You have some farmers and ranchers, they're taking the sledge to your thingy. What do you do? Like, how is this all enforced?
I don't think it was. I don't know if it... Yeah, because... What was this? Again, this is like the 1910s, and this was over 200 miles of piping.
What are you going to do for 200 miles?
Exactly. Like, you can't, like, there's only so much you can do.
So, I guess kind of the second question then, or sort of the secondary question is, like, who's maintaining this thing? Or really more broadly, like, how long is this thing operational? Like, it sounds like it was kind of a money grab. Like, is this thing operational today, or like how's
I don't think it's operational today.
Okay.
Because I think Owens Valley is
dried up.
Maybe not dried up, but it's just there's better water supply. Water supply around Los Angeles that's closer, and probably easier to maintain than a 233-mile long pipe.
This comes into sort of the hatred of like. How do you create something where people won't actively destroy it? And especially because it doesn't sound like these guys had a real plan to maintain it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just don't steal land from...
Maybe don't do that, yeah.
From farmers and ranchers.
Yeah.
And it gets worse.
Uh-oh.
This guy, William Mulholland, I think, he's a smart guy. He's self-taught. He seems like he wanted to... Actually, no, he didn't want to help people because he ended up, just like fucking screwing over the LA people and these ranchers and farmers. Just wanted, he's a dick.
He's a dick. I'm hearing he's a dick.
And you're gonna learn a little bit more about his dickedness. Because he was part of another project that kind of involved, like, a dam that didn't go so well.
Uh-oh.
In 1924, LA went through a severe drought, like the worst of the worst, the creme de la creme of droughts.
Uh-oh.
And William Mulholland wanted to kind of build a reservoir, kind of dam up an area to help prevent or combat this drought if it were to occur in later years.
Makes sense.
And so that's where he came up with the St. Francis Dam.
Okay.
It was built in 1926, completed in 1926. Keep in mind, this was just 2 years after the severe drought that he was like, yeah, I'm going to build this dam.
That's a quick turnaround time.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, damn, this is...
You were like, damn?
I was like, damn.
Damn, boy.
That's a thick-ass boy.
My uncle, when he walks down the stairs and sees me alone.
Thick-ass boy.
There's a wonderful video on YouTube, folks. It's just, I think it's 11 seconds of a guy just going like, damn, boy. That's a thick-ass boy. And all the comments are all things of that ilk. Anyway.
Oh my god, such a good video.
That's the same guy who did the vegan smoothie video. It's like, eat your fucking vegetables and greens, dickhead.
Who was that? Oh my god.
That was Anthony Fantano.
Anthony Fantano.
From the music drop.
Yes.
The needle drop.
Oh my, eat your fucking vegetables. And then he turns on the... If anyone is listening to this with the headphones on.
Then we lean in closer and make it louder. No, what I love about that is actually that when he says, eat your fucking vegetables and greens, you can hear just in his voice, like, pain. I don't know where it's coming from.
No one eats their vegetables anymore.
I get that, but, like, Jesus.
Oh my god.
He wasn't just mad about the damn vegetables.
He was not about the damn vegetables.
Tying it back. All right.
Damn.
So 2 years for a dam, huh?
Wow, you couldn't just let that joke kind of like sit in.
No, it wasn't even a joke. I mean, I'm legitimately impressed.
Yeah, and well, you shouldn't be because shit went down.
Uh-oh.
So the purpose of this dam was to kind of store rainwater, even though LA didn't have like a lot of frequent like rain coming down. The stuff that they did have, it would have been nice to kind of store it somewhere for a rainy day. The railroad.
The railroad.
So it was completed and it was able to hold about 30,000 acre feet of water.
What is an acre foot?
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay. But it was also kind of connected to the aqueduct. So if I think the thinking behind this was if there wasn't enough rainwater, then some of the aqueduct water would be diverted.
The aqueduct is the transmission line, and the reservoir is the storage capability.
Exactly. I just dropped some of the Golden State cider just came back up.
Yeah.
And like hit me in the face with its
boy.
Beautiful, delicious yellow goldness.
This is quite a good cider.
I know, right?
I'm enjoying this greatly. I love that there's a little seal on it, it's kind of local to SF kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I just noticed that.
I thought you were going to also follow me in.
No, I was not.
No, okay. All
Those
right.
seals are so cute, though.
Folks, if you ever make it to the Bay Area, the seal situation is actually kind of out of control.
Yeah, it's so cute. They're so adorable. They're like water river.
Our dog River is very much like a seal. She was sleeping. She didn't like that I touched her.
We need a river cam.
We do.
Maybe if we can like make any kind of revenue off this, we can get just specifically a river cam and then then us talking over it or something.
Any money we would make, we would put back into the podcast, and I think that would be a great use of funds.
Yeah. Oh, I just want a 24 hour, 7 days a week, 365 video of river.
I'm not sure if I need that much river.
I do.
When you think about it, an aqueduct is kind of like a controlled river. It's like a man-made river almost.
Trying to keep me on track? Is that it?
No!
I've got something in 20 minutes, babe. Hurry the fuck up.
For those of you listening at home, I'm aggressively tapping my watch.
Thank you.
Not really. I actually, I think the tangents are the 100% fresh pressed West Coast apples with champagne yeast of this podcast. So.
Yes. So, William Mulholland had a brilliant tendency to find shortcuts for saving money.
Hey, can't blame a man.
So, oh Jesus, I keep burping. It's a small one. So, for this project, that included little to no oversight on his engineer's calculations, very minor management from him and some of the upper managers.
Right.
Last minute design changes that included an increase in capacity, but no readjustment from the base to compensate this increased capacity. And little thought was given to the contraction of cement and heat, which would leave the structure unstable. And cracks and leaks were ignored because they were considered within the normal tolerance.
That's fucking based right there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, our dam just isn't working. That's fine.
It's okay.
And the dam operator, after it was constructed and there was water in the dam, he would frequently note dirt, water being spilled from both sides. And this was normally an indication of weak foundation. Mm-hmm. And he let William Mulholland and some of the major design engineers know about this. And they went for an inspection, but they concluded that the dirty water was not a problem. Because it was just clear water from the dam mixing with newly constructed dirt roads.
Hell yeah.
And the leaks and cracks did not concern them either. And both figured that those could be fixed at a later date.
It's like build it. This is like kind of the Silicon Valley model, like build a shitty version, then fix it,
Yeah.
Although that makes a little less sense when it's a dam.
Yeah, especially since 12 hours later the dam broke.
12 hours?
Yeah, literally William Mulholland came by, he's like, oh, I see some the dam isn't working, huh? Well, I better sleep on it. But literally as he was sleeping, the dam broke.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, so at around 11 p.m., a 12-inch crack was noticed on the side of the dam wall, which indicated a shift from the mountain base inside of the dam. So there was some kind of landslide going on.
Uh-oh.
And 15 minutes later, power went out. And not long after, the dam broke.
Oof.
One of the powerhouses, electrical powerhouses, was taken out, killing all of the employees that lived there and their families.
How many?
Well, I don't know how many were killed in that powerhouse, but the total number of people killed was thought to be around 431.
431?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And local towns and nearby encampments were flooded, which ended in more loss of life.
That's horrible.
And the worst part is, oh my god, this actually made me a little sad because the dam operator that had William and some of his buddies come in and inspect the dam, his body was never found, but his wife's body was.
Oh my god.
And it is thought that he went for a late night inspection after the sounds of the landslides were heard.
And then his wife followed him.
No, his wife's body was found in the home.
Oh.
Yeah.
From what? Why'd she die?
Probably just like drowned, or maybe there's some kind of.
So it got flooded out.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah, exactly.
God. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and so after this, I mean it's absolutely horrible what happened.
Yeah.
There was I think the city of LA got a bunch of engineers together to kind of figure out what went wrong, and one of the main theories, there's a bunch of theories because this whole thing was like just horribly put together, but one of the main theories behind the dam failures was that the landslide caused the left abutment to weaken and fall apart.
Gotcha.
So not only was there poor oversight on the engineering calculations and just completely, like, William completely ignored all of the cracks and leaks, but also they chose a bad spot to build a dam. Like,
naturally. Yeah,
they were like, oh, this is a bad spot and it's geologically weak.
Right.
Let's just fucking build it here anyways.
It's like that meme that's like, source, trust me, bro, you know?
William Mulholland saw the leaks and the cracks, and he was just like, if this dam falls apart, I will just simply intervene.
What if he came out later that night with just like some concrete and he was like, all right, fine, I'll do it myself.
But there's no dam. He's
but
like,
it's just flooded.
What? Where'd it go?
Oh, so do we have his comments? Like, do we have his reaction?
Yeah, kind of, but there were, like, I want to go over some of the other theories because...
Sure, yeah, no, that makes sense.
The city-appointed team of inspectors ruled that the main design was good somehow.
I don't know how that would be.
I don't know either, but the construction was poorly executed.
Wait, what if this was him? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, sorry, if you had more to say.
No.
I was just thinking, like, what if this is him covering his ass? Because wasn't he the head engineer? So, like, what if he was, like, greasing some palms to say, like, hey, my design was great, despite there was no oversight. It's these construction guys who fucked it up,
That's what I was thinking, too, because, like, everything was rushed from the design to the construction. There's no way that, you know, that there wasn't something wrong with the design.
And if you have the abutment in the wrong place, there's no way that's the construction. That's got to be the design anyway.
Yeah, and it even goes back to just, like, choosing a spot to make the dam, and they went wrong with that, too.
So, I mean...
So, like...
I'm not sure if I trust this whole construction bullshit.
Yeah, everything that you need to build a dam, they were just like, let's just do the exact opposite.
Right. What if we just... And when you think about it, that's kind of a wonderful kind of art project in a certain way, where it's like, what if you did an engineering large-scale infrastructure project, but sort of the opposite? And I think it sparked a lot of conversation here.
William Mulholland was just the Banksy of his time.
Yeah. He was just not understood until
don't get
this
it, guys.
podcast.
It's art.
Yes. Dude, what if he was literally just was like a troll?
That would be... Lay epic troll.
That would be lay epic troll. Fuck, I forgot about it. What do they call those, like, rage comics? Like, lay troll or whatever?
I don't know.
There was the rage face. Lay master troll or
Lay
something?
master troll, yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't know. Anyway, that's a little too tangenty.
Yeah, but so some of the engineer inspectors considered hydrostatic uplift in poor geology to be the main problem. Do you know what hydrostatic uplift means?
And I'm a lowly manufacturing engineer, so I'm going to give it my best shot here. I would assume that it has something to do with buoyancy, right? Because you're kind of flooding it with water, and then you have a buoyancy force kind of pushing the structure up.
Damn it, yeah.
Hell yeah. That's one for the mechanicals, boys and gals.
Essentially, it's just when water seeps underneath the dam and pushes it up.
Sure.
But yeah, at the end of the day, no design engineers were held accountable, and there was no evidence to support that there was any criminal intent behind the dam falling apart.
My ass, dude. This guy, at the very least, aren't we talking negligence here?
Yeah, but again, like, I feel like these engineers just have the city in their back pocket. Like,
right.
Mulholland is rich as fuck.
Sure.
And, he's friends with the mayor, Fred, who's...
So that leads me to question, like, his motives. Like, why would you intentionally do this project in this fashion if you knew it would go this way?
I don't know what his motives were to kind of combat the next drought that LA would have to face, but
like, did he really give a shit? Like...
I think he just wanted to cut corners and make money and not really give any oversight to any of the important aspects of civil engineering, which is, you're a public servant.
Right.
You're there for the public, and he was there for maybe his own selfish kind of, he just wanted to make money, man.
I do have to imagine as a young engineer, if you were working on that project, that would be fucking dope, because you don't have some asshole breathing down your neck. You're just like, I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah, but then 2 years later, it's like 430 people die, and it's like, oh shit, am I the baddie?
No, for sure. That reminds me of one time I was working on something. It didn't end up getting used, but at one of my old jobs, they had us doing something that, like, we should have been professional engineers doing this, but they just gave it to us anyway, and the reason it wasn't eventually used is we weren't able to stamp it, because I was like, like 20 at the time or whatever.
You're just a young buck.
I was a young buck, but I remember, like, I literally would wake up in the middle of the night, and I was like, fuck, what if I fuck this up and people die, And I would literally just wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm very glad that my work was not used, because I'm sure it was decent, but, like, also, like,
Sorry.
It would very much pain me to get a call where it was like, hey, remember that thing you worked on? Yeah, 400 people died.
No, that's how I feel right now at my job. Like, they're giving everyone a lot of responsibility, but they have 2 managers working on, like 40 projects. So it's like 20 projects between the both of them. And if I do something and I turn it into one of my managers, they're not going to have the time to always fully, like, go through it, and I'm like,
it's so stressing.
Oh my god, what if I'm 1 inch off on this?
I know.
Like,
yes.
Thousands of people will die.
It's a lot of pressure for, like, a 23-year-old.
Yeah. I'm 24.
Are you? Oh, yes, so you are.
I had my birthday a month ago, asshole.
Right. I always forget that we're the same age for a month.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a lot of pressure for anyone below, let's say, 45, So.
I think it's still, even if you're, like, you've got, like, 20 plus years under your belt.
Yeah, you better be damn sure.
Yeah, because then it's like, you can see someone who just recently graduated and doesn't have the experience, like, well, you can kind of understand, like, they don't know really what's going on, they're still learning, but if you have, like, 20 plus years of experience, like, okay, what...
Yeah.
How stupid, or not even stupid, but how negligent.
Sure. Maybe you just don't have the time, like, maybe you're really...
Listen, I have to snort cocaine off some strippers' titties at 5:30, so like we gotta wrap this meeting up.
Wrap this up. That could just become the running gag at some point in every podcast.
Snorting cocaine off a stripper's titties.
Exactly. And that would be great, because that's something I love doing.
Papa's busy at 5:30.
5:30 on a Monday evening.
I've got to be at the strip club.
I've got to be at, Listen, Lashes.
That clam chowder they have at Lashes is just amazing, okay?
My God. Never eat strip club clam chowder, folks. That's my one advice.
You've never been to a strip club?
She'd love to believe that.
Oh, my God.
We once were at a hotel, that had a truck stop / strip club / future illegal brothel.
Yeah.
And you let
horrifying.
me go to Subway unattended, so whatever else happens is on you. Let's just say they gave me a side of grated Parmesan in a white powder form.
Yeah, and they grated the... I was gonna try and make it sexual, like...
It was like cum or something.
I don't know.
I've never done cocaine. I'd like to state that for the record.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, and I definitely have not done it off strippers' tits. But
that
if I was
like
gonna
fun.
do cocaine,
that
I would.
Sounds like fun.
It would be way better off of strippers' tits.
Where did we started with like 400 deaths and ended up at cocaine on strippers' tits.
You know, I like to think that the dead. You know, one of the things I've always thought in my life is, like, if I were dead, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do all the great stuff I'm doing right now, you know?
Yeah.
So death, in a certain way, kind of gives life meaning, doesn't it, you know?
I guess. Damn, it's so deep.
Yeah.
Where's a stripper?
It does make you wonder, you know, like, when I'm on my deathbed, maybe I'll have wanted to do cocaine off strippers' tits. That's the other thing, like, why don't they make it, you know how, like, drugs are illegal?
Yeah.
Why don't they make it that, like, if you're terminal, you could just do drugs anyway? Like, who are you hurting?
Yeah, but I feel like if you're terminal, maybe, I feel like there would be some weird loophole that someone would find.
Where they, like, bring themselves to the verge of death? Excuse me.
Yeah, or, like, fake papers or something,
right.
You know,
saying
that
they're terminal. It'd be a whole cottage
terminal.
energy industry, yeah.
And then it's just, like, that one person just ruins it for everyone else.
Well, apparently when you die, your brain releases... You know how our brains, like, make DMT, like, in the brain?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, like, we have, like, a huge reserve at all times. Your pineal gland just makes a huge reserve, but it's, like, only, like, slowly drip to us. Like, right now, we have a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, but
Says
like,
you.
Yeah. So you turn the valve.
I'm fucking high all the time,
at every
Paul.
step. Well, but that's what happens, right? When you die, it just releases all the DMT.
That's so crazy.
And you just, like, which is partially, like, probably why people see, like, you know, like, out-of-body experiences and stuff.
Yeah, and, like, angels.
And angels and stuff. And that's also why if you have a near-death experience and then you die in the next, like, 2 or 3 weeks, your reserves haven't built back up. So if you die, apparently it's, like, way more painful.
Oh,
and,
my
like, it's
God.
like, yeah, because there was this guy, a good buddy of mine was telling me about this one time where, like he got, like, shot or something. And
just
then...
Casually.
Just casually. I don't know what happened. But regardless, he went to the hospital and, like, they were like, you'll live, just, you know, obviously take it easy. And so then they released him, like, really soon afterwards. So it was in that few weeks. And then he, like, got shot again. And then I don't think he died, but apparently it was, like, way worse the second time.
Oh my God.
Because his DMT, I don't know if it was because of the DMT, but, like, for whatever reason.
You don't think he died?
Yeah, I have no clue. I don't even know if he got shot twice or if, like, there was just another traumatic experience. He definitely got shot once, I can tell you that much.
Oh my God. Justice for whoever your friend is.
Justice for that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't my friend. That was like one of those things where it's like, bro, check out this crazy story. So, like, I don't know if, like, maybe some of the details got muddled.
Yeah. You know, it's like, it's kind of crazy, like, you see, like, weird things. It almost makes me wonder, you know, like, how angels in the Bible are originally supposed to be just a bunch of rings with eyes on it?
Right.
Like, I'm wondering, like, maybe not, like, when someone died, but when someone, like, just ate a weird mushroom.
No, definitely,
and they are just like, holy shit, is this an angel?
This is why Revelation in the Bible is such a weird book.
Yeah.
Because, like, all the other Gospels are fairly, like, cogently written.
Yeah.
And then... Sorry, there's a guy outside who's talking.
Shut up!
I hope he's not hearable. Maybe he is.
Is it the cough guy? I bet it is.
Is it the cough guy? One of our neighbors is outside. Regardless, probably doesn't matter. Anyway, one of the books of the Bible is, like, way weirder than the others, and then he's the same guy who wrote Revelation, which is the weirdest book in the Bible. So there's, like, people who have theorized that he, like, drank, like, an ergot beverage that, like, made him see shit or something. I don't know.
Be not afraid, as just, like, a fucking floating eyeball is going towards you.
If a floating eyeball is going towards you and you're not afraid, you're probably on drugs.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, man, peace among earth and floating eyeballs.
Honestly, that's words to live by.
Yeah. So I'm, just to kind of finish this up, apparently Mulholland took full responsibility and
Really?
shortly retired afterwards.
Wow, that is actually, like, really surprising.
I know. I think it's interesting that he took full responsibility. I think maybe his conscience was kind of, like, getting to him a little bit.
Yeah?
But this guy was really old when this happened, so I think he was planning on retiring anyways, and he was like, I might as well just end my career now.
So in the final analysis, do you think he was really a crook, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he was. I think, he was taking shortcuts wherever he could, and then he was like, oh my god, 430 people just died on my watch,
Right.
Maybe,
wake up call, for sure.
Yeah, I think, he kind of realized what he did was wrong, and maybe that's why he took full responsibility. I was watching a short documentary about Mulholland and this whole St. Francis Dam disaster, and when it said that he took full responsibility and retired afterwards, like, all the comments were like, you never see that nowadays,
Yeah, no, that's true, you don't.
I think it's at least maybe cathartic for some of the victims' families to see that he wasn't trying to just, like, back out of it and be like, well, it wasn't my fault, it was, but, it kind of was.
Yeah, no, I had this image kind of just like the Aqueduct guys who were just totally corrupt, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a kind of like a thin, or not thin, but there was like a remaining structure of the dam. It was like the sides of the dam had completely just been obliterated, and then there was the middle section that was still there.
Right.
And that was nicknamed the Tombstone, and it was memorialized to pay respect to the victims, but I think it's gone now.
Okay. I was gonna say we should do a field trip.
No, I think it's gone by now. Like,
okay.
I think in the 70s they got rid of it because they're Damn.
Oh, sorry. Freudian slip.
I think in the 70s they got rid of it because, like, people were just fucking about.
So is the aqueduct infrastructure still there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It'd be fun to do, like, a podcast from the aqueduct or something,
That would be fun. Or, like, this is where over 400 people died.
That would be less fun. I feel like it'd probably be haunted. What if we did, like, a nighttime? I don't know. It feels kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, it does. People died. Innocent people. And their families' kids died.
Oh, that's actually disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, because they had families, like, living on site because that was basically your full-time job.
Yeah.
So
is this like one of those things where, like, they make you shop at the company store and, like, like
yeah, but
like,
instead of shopping at the company store, it's just like housing and stuff.
Right. Okay.
So it's really it's awful, and there's still, unfortunately, even nowadays, I think there are still people who are kind of doing this and getting away with it, so.
That's what I wanted to ask you, maybe kind of as, like, the, kind of the stinger here is, like, it's almost like a trope, like in that TV show we were talking about, just, like, that these large infrastructure projects get, like, corrupt.
Yeah.
Like, I guess what I would ask you is, having read all this and heard about all this, like, if you were put in charge of a large infrastructure project, what would the playbook be to prevent that?
Well, first off, I'm a woman, so that would never happen.
Well, actually, it's 2022, so.
Oh, in 2022. Yeah, in 2022, well.
Assuming, human nature hasn't really changed, has it? Like 1924, 2022, I mean.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about being, like, a civil engineer that focuses in water is you're there for the public and help the environment.
Right.
That is your main goal. So if I were in charge of something like this, I would do what I could to, follow safety protocols and not cut corners.
Right.
In order to kind of avoid something like this. But then, you have, like, subcontractors who might not have the same kind of principles that you do.
Bro, anytime, I've worked at so many places, not like every time, but a lot of the time, you have a contract with the subcontractor. It stipulates the safety stuff very explicitly.
Yeah.
Then you walk by and they're, like, hanging off a scissor lift, like, welding some bullshit, and you're like, are my safety requirements a joke to you? Or like
the manual to not kill 430 people. Am I a joke to you? Yeah, so it's, but then you kind of, like, that's why you hire people to, on your side, to watch that, kind of have some oversight. It's just, and I think with this guy, I think if he saw one of his subcontractors just kind of doing what you said your guys were doing, I think he would be fine with that. William, walk the other way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just feel so bad. It feels like, you know, with some of these things, with some of these, like, safety regulations, it's just like, you know, killed 400 people, well, better not do that again, and then they have all these policies in place instead of being proactive and being like, what do we do to not kill innocent lives?
This is kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah. Because, like, obviously you can put in all the regulations you want, but at the end of the day, like, people can just look at that and be like, no, and just do their own thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad this was more of a bummer than Albert 6.
I found Albert 6 hilarious compared to this.
I know. I feel like we were laughing about Albert 6.
I'm kind of chuckling. It's just 430 dead people. It's just, you know.
Some of those children.
Some of them were children. It's not that there's not elements of humor here, to be sure.
Children died. Whoa.
Less what I'm talking about, but.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, you know, if River was in charge of this kind of project, she'd do it perfectly.
I would hire River instantly, and she can give me a little doggo stamp, which is like a little snout.
Oh my gosh, she can boop.
And she boops the contract.
Or what if she put, like, ink on her paw and just...
just slapped it down.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think River needs to be the first PE doggo.
Yes. Yeah, you up for it, River? She's asleep.
She's not actually awake.
She's not even coherent of what's going on.
Well, you know, I'm not about to be coherent in a second here because this Golden State cider got me wilding.
# not an ad. It's just really good cider.
It's quite good.
Can you only get it in the Bay Area?
Well, I've only seen it here, but theoretically you could just, it's at Drink Golden State, folks, so you could just get them to send you some, most likely.
It is vegan.
They don't have a website per se, I don't think.
You know, one person that we should send this to, Bree.
Yeah, our buddy Bree.
I'm super excited to, I mean, this is a plug too for Bree's for Bree's brew, but she just got her brew, like her idea for a beer or something like that approved, and now she's moving forward with the steps, and it's super exciting.
Maybe maybe at some point we can have that be our drink of the day.
Yeah, that would be so much fun.
I can't wait.
Love you, Bree.
Love you, Bree. All right, folks. Well, I think we're about done with the LA Aqueducts. I certainly learned a lot.
Yeah, I'm really sad now.
No, it's okay. Honestly, sometimes there's ones you ought to learn from rather than just chuckle about a monkey burning to death in the New Mexico desert.
Okay, what did we learn from this?
I think we learned don't rush a dam out in 2 years. Have engineering oversight. I mean, there's obviously deeper structural issues, but I think in terms of our North Star here, we should be aiming at engineering oversight, people checking young engineers' drawings, and getting as much corruption out of the process as possible.
Yeah, this almost kind of reminds me of when we were talking with those 2 engineers from Florida, and one of them mentioned that there's like a ring that you can get that's made from
the
steel.
Order of the Engineer.
Yeah, there's a ring that you can get that's made out of steel from bridges that fell down.
Yeah.
So anytime you put it on your pinky, anytime you write out something or approve something, you put the ring on your dominant hand that you're writing out or stamping something, so it's kind of a reminder of, you know, the structures that were set in place that failed because of, you know, stuff that we talked about here, either little to no oversight or just kind of corruption.
Failures have consequences.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. Yeah. I appreciate every one of you.
And I also, well, no, I don't. I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate every single one of you listening. It means a lot. And thank you. Can we do the little clink
yeah.
clink?
Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
Bye for now.
Bye.